And not, they're going to have some big issues, being able to properly maintain wastewater and water for the city. So those are all issues, that they could have been focusing in on, but they didn't do it. The other thing is, I think that, now is the time to be a uniter, bring the community together. I think that's going to be important, more so in the future, because I think that we're in for some hard times, unfortunately. We need to get back to the way this country was first established, and that's one nation under God, and neighbor looking out after neighbor.
Amen. Amen.
And I think that, we've kind of lost that focus. Everybody's materialistic, and, it's what's in it for me type thing versus looking out for their fellow man, their fellow woman, that type thing. We need to get back to that. But it's going to take the community coming together as one to be able to, make it through the tough times. And so, that's where we need to be. That's where we need to go. So that's one of my focuses as well. Weatherford, in my opinion, is the best of the best out of the cities in the Metroplex. It's a good city to raise children in. Has one of the best, school systems, second to none. Very accredited. They get high marks, from the state. And I was, my wife and I moved here about 8 years ago, and I would not look back on our decision. I'm glad I moved here to Weatherford. It's certainly been good for our 14-year-old daughter. She's, going to school at Hall Middle School and right now, and she's about to go into 9th grade, and this has been good for her, very good. So I'm looking forward to the future and ensuring that Weatherford, stays a good, safe, family-oriented city. And I think you can only do that by having folks on the council that hold the city staff accountable. They have a vision. They're proactive in their thinking, and then they spend your money and your tax dollars wisely. So that's why I'm running, and certainly ask you for your vote and consideration. May 8th, the election, early voting's April 26th. And that's all I have. Anyone have any questions? Go ahead.
On the lake, as far as it shallowing up, all that fish emulsion, everything on the bottom of that lake is right. There are companies that will come in and dredge that lake and leave you with a zero balance. You don't pay anything, and they take everything. Whatever's in there belongs to them. I've seen them try to do that in Lake Worth, but they won't do it because the greedy suckers are thinking they're going to lose a dime.
Yeah, well, there's actually some inside info on that. Our city was offered that, but I mean, if you know of companies, we'd like to hear them, but that was offered once, and we said no. We turned that down. I wasn't on the board then. I don't really know the reasoning behind it. I'm assuming it was, well, if today we're getting an offer for no, tomorrow we might get an offer to pay.
Yeah.
Since then, we look into it, they've looked into it, and the bids have not been free. In fact, now, what we've been told is that it's actually in the millions. And I don't know if that's because, see, that silt was desirable, at least one reason we were told, is during the housing boom.
Yeah.
And it was very desirable for some of the cities and some of the states that were in like the real dry, arid climates, the clay that we have, the silt that we have mixed out with a little bit of water. I mean, it's great stuff. And it was cheaper than concrete. But now, we all know the housing boom isn't booming. And I don't know if they're developing anymore, and I hope so, and I'll look into it more, and we both will look into it if we're on city council, even without on city council. I'll look into it and write a letter to the editor and go talk in front of city council. But I don't think we're going to find that it's free anymore. I think that's another example of how our current administration missed the boat. Maybe you called it greed. I agree with you, but they missed the boat on that.
Both of you guys know how I feel about politicians in general, because of what they have done, and they have lied about it. and they, the most miserable job I've ever seen in my life on South Main. They bottlenecked it. All that money that's spent did not do anything to alleviate traffic, and it never will until they go down there and open all that up. It's crazy. And that engineer should have been terminated, the chief engineer should have been terminated many years ago. But he's still there, isn't he? What's he drawing? What's his salary now?
I'm not exactly sure the exact amount, but I do know, and you bring up a valid point, that's also another valid point. A lot of the upper administrators in the city, you know, they're drawing anywhere from 80 to 100,000+ a year. And they're supposed to have the education and the training to be able to do their jobs. And why aren't we using them to do the planning, to do the assessments on the roads?
Why are we getting,
Outside consultants to come in and spending money on that?
When we're paying engineers to do that?
Absolutely. And so it doesn't make sense, you know, it certainly doesn't make sense from a fiscal, being fiscally responsible. So that's something that needs to be looked into. That's something I plan on looking into. And I plan on, you know, holding the city staffers accountable. You know, if you're being paid to do a job, then you need to, you know, do that job. And if you can't
Outside,
do
they
it,
just terminate you. You work for a
Exactly.
company, you can do your job, you don't work there anymore.
exactly.
Eric, you brought that up to the city council here a few weeks ago, told them where they could get their money and just quit all these contracts.